sight, the ability for us to see is such an incredible gift from God. I'm blown away when I can look at the scenery around us in this beautiful creation. I love the fact that I can see that the flowers are sprouting in the springtime, and I'm able to see my children grow up. But not everyone can see. There are a number of people that for one reason or another, either born without sight or lose their sight. I had a grandmother who was blind. She had both eyes, the retinas detached, and they weren't able to save them. And so she was totally blind. And I used to think, wow, man, she's missing out on being able to see the beautiful surroundings. She's missing out seeing me and my brother grow up. But she totally lived in a different way. She didn't seem to be hindered by the fact that she didn't have physical sight. She showed us what you can still do if you put your mind to it. She was able to still make things, and she was an amazing cook, and she still played with us, and all those kinds of things. And that even though she couldn't see, or physically see, there was something about, she seemed to appreciate things, the things around her more. She taught me that actually maybe there was more to life than just the physical stuff that I can see around me. And this got me thinking that for those of us that have got sight, can it actually be a hindrance to us seeing? So as I've been thinking about this whole idea of sight and the ability to see, I've been thinking, God has given us this beautiful creation for us to enjoy and to look at, but what he doesn't want us to do is he doesn't want us to be so consumed by the things around us that we miss what he's actually trying to reveal to us. That there's this concept in the Bible of a spiritual sight. Even Paul writes that we are to walk by faith, not by sight. What he's trying to say is we're not meant to allow the external circumstances to dictate to us the way that we live or the way that we see things. And it's so easy to do that we come across somebody and we can quite easily judge them by the way they look or the things that they do. And what God wants us to do is look beyond that, because Jesus is in the midst of our lives every single day. And the question is, are we seeing him? Do we see him in the midst of our lives every single day? So the Bible is full of this concept of walking by faith and not by sight, about tuning our spiritual senses, and about how it's easy to miss God in the midst of the stuff that's going on around us. I was thinking about Abraham when he meets Melchizedek, and Melchizedek is most likely Jesus, and he doesn't really recognize him straight away. And we see this happen time and time again. Think about Jacob when he wrestles with this angel or this man, and it turns out to be Jesus. When we think about Mary when she's at the tomb and she speaks to Jesus but thinks he's a gardener, and those two disciples on the road to Emmaus, where again they start talking to Jesus but they don't recognize who he is until he reveals himself to them. And so it's been getting me thinking every single day as I'm trying to spend time with God and trying to navigate what he's asking of me is, am I so fixed on what I think I should be doing or where I should be going and all the list of jobs that I've got to do that I can miss Jesus in the midst of it? I love what it says in the book of Job chapter 42. There's this guy, Job, who's a righteous man, he's a follower of God, and God's blessed him, but then there's this trial. Satan's come along and God's given him permission to inflict devastation really upon Job in the most severe way. And right at the end of it all, this is what it says. This is what Job answers God with. He says, I know that you can do all things. He recognizes the power of God, and he says that no purpose of yours can be thwarted or stopped. He goes on to say, who is this that hides counsel without knowledge? Therefore I have uttered what I did not understand, things too wonderful for me, which I did not know. He realizes that all the things he was talking about and saying was just crazy. He didn't really understand. He knows something of God, but he'd missed who God was in the midst of it. And so he says, here I will speak. I will question you, and you make it known to me. I've heard of you by the hearing of my ear, but now my eyes see you. Therefore I despise myself and repent in dust and ashes. What he said is that through the trials and through the difficulties, he's recognised that God is in the midst of it. And not only that, he recognises that it's not just about what he knows about this God, but it's about knowing him personally. And so he uses this phrase that he knew of God through the hearing, through his understanding, through his wisdom, his intellect, through his natural senses. But now he truly sees him. And when he says he sees him, it means that he knows him personally. He knows who this God is in his life. And he recognises that whether life is good or bad, that God is right there in the midst of it, if only we would look for him. So Job had this incredible experience of God, and God took him through this crazy journey where he was able to actually see God for who he is and actually know him for who he is rather than just about him. And so the encouragement for us is let's not just be moved by the things that people are saying around us or by the situations that we're going through. You know, Job had these good friends that were trying to give him what was so-called sound advice, and he ended up coming out with the wrong answer. So let us not just be moved by the situations or the people, but let us really listen to God. Let us train our spiritual senses to hear and see him, so that we don't just know about God, but that we will truly know him for ourselves, and that we won't just have sight, physical sight, but that we'll have spiritual sight to see. I can't deny